She was a decorated general with 30 years of service to her country. He was a cop who thought his badge gave him unlimited power. When these two worlds collided on a dark highway, it wasn't just a traffic stop. It became the battle that would destroy his career, change department policy, and remind everyone that true authority comes from character, not a piece of metal pinned to your chest. It was Thursday night, just past midnight. The streets of Portland were empty except for occasional taxis and night shift workers heading home. General Rebecca Martinez drove her government-issued black SUV through the quiet city, heading back to base after a long strategy meeting. She wasn't speeding, wasn't swerving, wasn't doing anything that warranted attention. But Officer James Riley saw something anyway. He'd been parked in the shadows of an overpass for 3 hours, bored, restless, annoyed that his shift was dragging. When the SUV passed, he didn't hesitate. Lights flashing, he pulled out behind her. Rebecca noticed the police cruiser immediately. She sighed, checked her speed, exactly at the limit, and pulled over smoothly, hands on the wheel, calm, controlled. As a high-ranking military official, she'd navigated war zones with less tension than some traffic stops. The cruiser door slammed. In her mirror, Rebecca watched Riley approach, hand already resting on his holster, face tight, body language aggressive before he'd even reached her window. License and registration, no greeting, no explanation. Rebecca kept her hands visible. "Officer, may I ask why I was pulled over?" Riley's face hardened. "You were weaving between lanes. Looked like possible intoxication." "I wasn't weaving." Her voice remained steady. "License and registration. Now." His voice rose, demanding obedience. Rebecca reached slowly for the glove compartment, retrieving her documents. She handed them over along with her military ID. "This is a government vehicle. I'm a federal employee." Riley glanced at her ID. His eyebrow raised slightly at the rank, but his expression didn't soften. "Military, huh? That doesn't put you above the law." "I never said it did." His tone shifted, became more aggressive. "Step out of the vehicle." "Excuse me?" "I said step out. Sobriety check." Rebecca's jaw tightened, but her voice remained measured. "On what grounds, officer?" "I haven't been drinking." "Are you refusing a direct order?" Riley stepped closer, looming over her window. "Number, I'm asking for clarification." He didn't like that. He grabbed her door handle himself. "Exit the vehicle now." Rebecca didn't argue further. Instead, she calmly took out her phone and hit record. "I'd like to document this interaction," she said quietly. Riley's eyes flicked to the phone. For a second, uncertainty crossed his face, but he was too far committed to back down. Out of the car. Rebecca stepped out, posture perfect, not intimidated, not aggressive. The streetlight illuminated her face, calm, controlled, eyes direct. Riley made her perform field sobriety tests right there on the roadside. Walk a straight line, touch her nose, follow his flashlight with her eyes. She passed flawlessly, not a stumble, not a mistake. Still, he wrote her a ticket for lane deviation. "You should be more careful, ma'am." The ma'am dripped with mockery. Even military personnel need to follow civilian traffic laws. Rebecca took the citation without a word, just a long, level look that made Riley shift uncomfortably. She got back in her car and drove away. Riley had no idea who he'd just messed with. At the police station, Riley tossed his body camera on the charging dock and laughed with fellow officers in the break room. "Had some military woman try to pull rank on me tonight," he boasted. "Flashed her fancy government ID like I should salute or something." Officer Kim looked up. "Who was it?" "Some Martinez, Rebecca Martinez." Kim's coffee cup froze halfway to her mouth. "Wait, General Rebecca Martinez? 3-star General Martinez?" "Whatever, don't care how many stars she has. On the road, I'm the authority." Kim's voice dropped. "Dude, she's not just military. She's one of the highest-ranking women in the armed forces. Combat veteran, presidential commendations. She oversees operations across 3 states. Riley waved her off. "So what?" But something in Kim's tone made his stomach tighten. For the first time, a tiny thread of doubt crept in. He pushed it away. Riley didn't apologize, didn't back down, never had, never would. What he didn't know was that General Martinez was already on the phone with her legal team. The video was already being reviewed. The complaint was already being filed, and Riley's badge was about to meet something it couldn't intimidate. A woman who had earned her authority through decades of service, sacrifice, and unshakable integrity. The fight was just beginning. General Rebecca Martinez wasn't someone who made noise for attention. She wasn't dramatic, wasn't confrontational. 22 years in service, 3 combat tours, and enough medals to fill a shadow box had taught her when to fight and when to strategize. This time, she chose both. Back at Joint Base Lewis McChord, Rebecca sat in her office at 0600 hours, reviewing the footage from the previous night. The video played on her monitor, Officer Riley approaching with his hand on his weapon, his aggressive tone, the unnecessary sobriety test. Her aide, Captain Jackson, knocked and entered. "Everything okay, ma'am?" Rebecca looked up, expression determined. "No, but it will be." She forwarded the video to 3 people, her JAG officer, the Inspector General, and the Portland Police Department's Internal Affairs Division. "You think anything will happen?" Jackson asked. "I'm not leaving it to chance," Rebecca replied, picking up her phone. "This isn't just about me." Because that was the truth. This wasn't personal revenge. This was about every young soldier she'd mentored, every civilian without rank to protect them, every woman who'd swallowed humiliation because fighting back seemed more dangerous than compliance. She wasn't doing that anymore. By noon, the complaint was formally filed. By 1400 hours, the Inspector General's office had opened a preliminary investigation. By the end of the day, Portland PD had flagged Officer Riley's body camera footage for review. But Riley didn't know any of this yet. He was back on patrol the following night, pulling over a college student for a broken taillight, making a middle-aged woman exit her vehicle in the rain because she seemed nervous, flexing the same muscle, wielding the same power that had never been challenged. "You don't look sober," he told a terrified teenager who'd missed a stop sign. The kid's hand shook as Riley made him touch his nose, walk a line, recite the alphabet backward. Riley wrote him a ticket anyway. 5 days after the Martinez incident, Riley walked into the precinct for his shift. His sergeant, Monica Davis, called him into her office immediately. "Close the door," she said, voice tight. Riley sat down, relaxed, confident. "What's up, Sarge?" Davis slid a manila envelope across the desk. "This was delivered today. Notice to appear in court. You've been named in a civil rights complaint." Riley laughed. "What for what?" "Traffic stop last Thursday, General Rebecca Martinez." He waved it off. "She's just mad I didn't let her military status intimidate me." Davis didn't smile. "Jim, do you have any idea who you pulled over? She's not just some random officer. She's a 3-star general with direct lines to the Pentagon. She's got combat experience, presidential commendations, and connections in Washington we can't even imagine." "So what? Special treatment because she's got fancy friends?" "No. Equal treatment because she's a citizen who didn't break any laws." Davis leaned forward. "I've seen both videos, yours and hers. There was no probable cause for that stop. No reason for the field sobriety test. You escalated without justification." Riley's confidence cracked slightly. "I was following procedure." "No, you were on a power trip, and now we're all going to pay for it." For the first time, Riley felt something unfamiliar, accountability approaching. Throughout the precinct, the atmosphere had changed. Officers avoided eye contact. Conversations stopped when he entered the break room. Nobody said anything directly, but Riley could feel it. The silent judgment, the distancing. He was radioactive. Meanwhile, General Martinez prepared her case without fanfare or publicity. She met with her legal team, reviewed evidence, and outlined her testimony with military precision. No emotional outbursts, no press conferences, just methodical, strategic preparation. Her lawyer, Commander Sarah Bennett from JAG, laid out the case. "This goes beyond the traffic stop," Bennett explained. "This is about pattern and practice. Officer Riley has 17 complaints in his file, all dismissed, all involving similar behavior. Rebecca nodded. And the department? Protected him every time. Union representation, internal reviews that went nowhere, the usual blue wall. Not this time, Rebecca said quietly. 3 weeks after the traffic stop, the courthouse steps were crowded with uniforms. Half blue police, half military dress. Word had spread within both communities. This wasn't just a traffic case. It was a collision of two powerful institutions. Riley arrived first, in his dress uniform, still carrying himself with confidence that looked increasingly forced. His eyes darted around, noticing the military personnel present, the reporters gathering at the edges. Then General Martinez arrived. She didn't stride or strut. She walked with measured steps, wearing her full dress uniform with 3 stars gleaming on each shoulder. Every ribbon, every medal, every marker of service visible. Not for show, for truth. When she entered the courtroom, the room fell silent. Even the judge paused, recognizing the gravity of her presence. Riley saw it too, the respect she commanded without saying a word, the authority she carried not because of her uniform, but because of who she was beneath it. For the first time, doubt didn't just creep in. It flooded through him. The battle lines were drawn, but it wasn't just Officer Riley versus General Martinez anymore. It was accountability versus impunity. And only one would leave the courtroom standing. The courtroom was packed. Every seat filled, people standing against the walls. The judge, Honorable Marcus Rodriguez, called for order with 3 sharp raps of his gavel. General Martinez, you may take the stand. Rebecca moved forward without hesitation. She swore the oath, voice clear and steady. Her testimony was delivered with the same precision she'd used commanding troops. No emotional outbursts, no exaggerations, just facts. I was driving within the speed limit. I maintained my lane. Officer Riley claimed I was weaving. The video shows I was not. The courtroom watched as both videos played. First Rebecca's phone footage, then Riley's body camera. They showed the same scene from different angles. Riley's immediate aggression, hand hovering near his weapon, escalating a routine stop into a confrontation. Riley shifted uncomfortably as the footage showed him making the general perform field sobriety tests despite no signs of impairment. Did you ever refuse to comply? Her attorney asked. No, I asked reasonable questions. I followed directions. Did you identify yourself? Yes, I provided my military ID and explained I was in a government vehicle. During cross-examination, Riley's attorney tried to establish reasonable doubt. Isn't it possible Officer Riley was simply following protocol? Rebecca's gaze was unwavering. Protocol requires reasonable suspicion. There was none. But officers must have discretion. Discretion, yes. Discrimination, no. That badge means responsibility, not power. The words hung in the air. Riley looked down at his hands. When Riley took the stand, his testimony crumbled under questioning. Why did you escalate the stop, officer? She questioned my authority. Is asking why you're being detained a crime? Riley hesitated. No. Would you have treated a male general the same way? Longer pause. I don't know. The final question cut deepest. Officer Riley, if you had known who General Martinez was that night, would you have conducted the stop differently? Riley's voice dropped. Probably. 3 simple syllables that admitted everything. The jury deliberated for just 2 hours. The verdict, in favor of Martinez. Riley had violated constitutional rights during an unlawful detention. The judgment included damages of $50,000 and a formal recommendation for departmental review. But Rebecca wasn't finished. 1 month later, she stood before a room of police cadets at the Portland Police Academy, not as a plaintiff, but as an invited speaker. Authority is not about fear, she told them. It's about respect. And respect is earned through character, not granted by a badge or uniform. The cadets sat silent, attentive. Officer Riley thought his badge made him untouchable. He discovered that true authority comes from integrity, not intimidation. She looked around the room, making eye contact with the future officers. Remember this, the power you're given isn't a weapon to use against citizens. It's our responsibility to protect them. Carry it with honor. Riley was suspended, then reassigned to desk duty. The department implemented new training protocols. Body camera reviews became mandatory for all stops, resulting in citations. Small changes perhaps, but ripples in a pond that had been still for too long. For Rebecca, it was never about revenge. It was about correction, about standing up not just for herself, but for everyone who couldn't. Because sometimes the quietest voice speaks the loudest truth. No one is above accountability, not even those who wear a badge. If this story touched you, hit subscribe right now. Have you ever witnessed someone abuse their authority? Or have you stood up to someone who did? Share your story in the comments below. Remember, true power isn't about control, it's about character.